This episode is sponsored by the blog Home Under Clutter. Lindsay is a self-proclaimed clutterbug. She got so sick of living in clutter that she did a huge purge. Join her on her never-ending journey of decluttering and organizing at www.homeunderclutter.com. Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted. I'm in line at the Whole Foods with the Magic Man.
We're starting to have terms like mass exodus.
I want to play Sister Detective more.
I still think that would be cool. I'd also love to be a mermaid.
The rat race and trying to get out of the rat race. Everybody's trying to escape it.
Full Matrix. I'm going full Matrix on this. I want to be dialed in.
And Kim and I are speechless. Like, is she okay?
My body and soul, the information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted. My body and soul, the information is the goal. Trying to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul, inspiration is the goal. And we're gonna talk it out on Book Interrupted.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions. If you'd like to join along, this book cycle is from October 24th to November 28th. It's our fan Lindsay's book pick, and we're reading 4% Fix by Karma Brown. How to find guilt-free time for what you really want to do and why it matters. How would you use this 1 hour, only 4% of your day, to change your life? Let's listen in to this episode's group discussion. Welcome to the fan episode. This is the episode where we see what the fans thought. Just a reminder that it's whatever people commented on during that book cycle, but not necessarily the 4% Fix. Maybe we should go to Facebook. There was a lot of comments this cycle on our blog posts that we post on Facebook. So one of them was a would you rather question. Would you rather be given a lifetime supply of delicious food or books? And the person commented on Lindsay's choices, not fan Lindsay. Lindsay put, I love books, but definitely food. I need food to survive. And then the person responded, my thoughts exactly. Like, why? And then I was like, I know I'm not supposed to put books, but I'm putting books anyway. Like, I can't eat books. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought that was funny. Well, I'm picking books anyway. And so many people pick books. Kara picked books too.
I picked
I think
books.
Mara
I was
picked
like,
books.
it's an imagine question. So in the imagine answer, somehow my nutrient supply would have been taken care of.
I wanted to say food, but I couldn't resist saying delicious books. I have to put delicious books because it just tickles me the right way.
And Lindsay, what would you pick?
I would have to pick food. I love food too much.
Love food.
Me too.
Yeah, and I thought that maybe I should pick food, and then all the money I save on food, I just could buy books. That would be better, I think.
You really thought about it literally.
So, that's what happens with those questions. You sometimes think like, if I pick this, then I can't have that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I pick books, then now I also am choosing starvation. Because
Or disgusting
Yeah.
food.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need
I like that
more
one better.
books.
Would
Oh,
you rather have
disgusting.
books and disgusting food, or delicious food and books?
Disgusting books.
Disgusting.
That would have been a good spin on the question. Yeah.
There you go.
Disgusting books. What would that entail?
Don't even.
We're not going there. We're not going to go there. There's plenty of them, I'm sure.
I was thinking like moldy or something like old what. I wasn't thinking.
Oh.
Anyway, now I'm thinking that. Now I am.
I think content.
Oh no, I was getting into like super naughty, majorly naughty books.
Oh, I was thinking of like porn.
Oh no. Okay, moving on.
Or like just about maggots or something. I don't know.
A book about maggots.
Meredith, come on.
Well, I guess I gotta read about maggots again.
But that would probably be fascinating, like how they work and
Or corpses.
Corpses with maggots.
Jeez, guys.
here we go.
Yeah. There you go.
All right.
One of our would you rather questions that was really popular was would you rather breathe underwater or fly? One person said at first thought they would want to breathe underwater because they love being in the ocean, but then they thought about sharks. such a dilemma person.
Such a
Point.
dilemma.
Meredith, I don't normally include when we comment on each other's posts, but Meredith had originally put, yours is so good. You said that you would fly through the air, but you would keep it a secret and then join the sky jump team for the Olympics and then reveal you could fly after
Ski
you won a
jump.
gold medal and fly away. Yeah, ski jump.
I was very silly that
I
day.
was like, yeah, and then you commented after that, I must have been really silly that day because really I would just say breathe underwater or something.
I love
I
being
don't know why I
underwater.
wouldn't-
When I go to the swimming pool, I'm underwater almost the whole time. With my
Totally,
dog.
I
We
love it.
We love being in water. We just like swim underwater and like look at each other and like come up for breath and go back down.
It's so good. Do you know what I
It's so
discovered?
peaceful.
Because we just got a pool in the backyard this summer, and I realized I always thought it was like the buoyancy and the freedom from like being able to swim underwater that I enjoyed, but it's not. It's that it goes so quiet
Yeah.
when you're under there. It's so nice. You're just like, oh, there's not all this like external noise of mom, can you go get this? Honey, have you seen my whatever? You know, it's just like, yeah, it was so peaceful. Love it.
Lindsay, what would
Yeah.
you pick?
I would pick breathing underwater. I always, ever since I was like 3 years old, I've wanted to be a mermaid. So
Really?
definitely
mermaid
breathing
hair.
underwater, right?
Yeah, mermaid hair happening.
Yeah.
Mermaid hair. So that's half the battle of being a mermaid, is the hair.
Totally. Now you just need the
Right,
tail,
yeah.
and you're done.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now you can buy tails.
Did
I
you know
think-
that there's a whole subculture of
There is.
people? Yeah,
I have not
it's
thought
very
about joining anything
interesting.
in that community, but yes.
No?
No. My dream is a dream. It'll stay that way.
I'd like to try one of those tails though. I imagine it's probably very hard because
Yeah, I
that
don't
like
think it would
dolphin
make it
kick
easy.
is it's hard to do the
Yeah.
dolphin kick, right?
Mhm.
Now, but is the subculture, do they actually swim with the tails on? Do we know?
Yeah.
Or is it just
Oh yes.
yeah.
From what I've seen, they
Yeah.
swim with the tails and they practice
fun.
holding their breath and doing deep dives and
Oh, I would like to do that. That, sounds like fun.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to try it for the same reason. Well, I don't know if that's the same
I
reason.
feel
as
like
Mare.
Kira's
Just to
keeping
see.
something from us.
Do you have to wear
Sorry.
shells?
Yeah, Kara,
Yeah.
are you in this?
No, I
secret
only came across
club?
it because my daughters a few years ago came across in Walmart. They had like this material in bathing suit that you could pull
Right.
up and it looks like a mermaid tail. And it didn't have the sizes. So I went to online shopping and in my searches came across, oh, there's like a whole bunch of people that get together for the sole purpose of just being a mermaid, and some take
Merring.
it very far.
What do
And
you
that
mean by
part was
that?
uncomfortable. The fun, like just like, yeah, let's just go for a swim seemed great. But it was like they were getting a bit too into like psychosis, like they were identifying as mermaids. And I was like,
Oh, okay.
oh dear.
Yeah.
I still
went
think that
down
would be
the-
cool. I'd
Oh,
also
yeah.
love to be
I
a
know.
mermaid.
Yeah.
And having a little group that y'all go together, that would be fun.
I have a seashell bikini top. Okay. Because it's seashells, but it's for my Halloween costume. So I can bring that to the mermaid
There you go.
swim.
To your first meeting.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You'll
love
blend
it.
right in.
I love it. Okay. That's the end
Okay,
of
you got the
that.
challenge.
No, and there we go.
Become a mermaid.
Maybe we'll go into some tweets. Oh, we had a whole bunch of for the 4% fix. We had a guy who retweeted, what is it? What was your claymation called, Meredith, again? The rascally raccoon meets playful dog. So we had people comment on that. But we had someone retweet it and say, hey, why don't you check out my claymation video? And he did a music video. He's a musician called Bluetopia. And it was really cool. Yeah, so I checked it out. Yeah, but he put he really liked your claymation, and then he put his claymation.
That's nice. I'll check it out.
Yeah, if you go on our you go on our Twitter, you'll see Bluetopia at Bluetopia. We had some retweets. So our YouTube video of what's worth getting out of bed for, our episode 1 was retweeted a bunch of times about sleep cycles, time management, and then that question like, what would you get out of bed for? I think maybe that's retweeted because people feel the same way. Like, what would I get out of bed for? And it has to be something pretty good to get out of bed. I don't know what you guys feel about that, but I think the reason that was popular was because people are wondering, like, are thinking about that. Like, what would actually motivate me to get out of bed that hour early when I'm already like sleep deprived and like? Why
I
would
think
you
people
get
are
out of bed
looking
in
for
the morning?
solutions. They're looking for, right? They're just feeling like, why am I working so hard and where's my joy?
Well, and that's
I
what we
don't
were
know.
talking about too with the rat
Every-
race and trying to get out of
Right.
the rat race. Everybody's trying to escape it. Nobody wants to be in it. They just are sucked into it because that's what society tells us we have to do.
It reminds me of this thing that's going around on Facebook that says, like, whatever the year, work a full-time job, get a down payment or something for your house, and then this year, or like whatever this era, work 3 jobs so that you can afford your rent. Like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
it's like,
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always butcher any retelling of a joke or information, so I apologize. But did I make the gist of my point
Right.
anyways?
But the point is, it was easier before. and
That's
you can
right,
work
that's
harder- You
right.
can work harder now to get less.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Totally. Yeah, same with me. I like invent. I not only don't do an accurate recap, but then I start to add in like my own.
How can I make this more interesting?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
But I have a theory on the whole why did that particular episode, like what gets you out of bed. And it's this theory is solely just based on the mental health center that I work out of. I love looking at patterns when we start to, because I handle a lot of the initial like new referrals and intakes for people who are looking for counselors, psychotherapists, stuff like that. And just looking at the trends. And over COVID, I think it's gone up 70% now. The reason why previously people would reach out to get connected to like a counselor or therapist has changed. Now 70% of the intakes that are coming in are solely around the topic of, well, it's what Meredith was saying earlier in the podcast episode, is like over COVID, they're just like, I don't have to put up with this anymore. In fact, I don't want to put up with this anymore. It's coming at a severe cost of my own mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health, social health. And you, company, if you're not willing to start to put in the effort to address this, creating a space where we can bring our whole selves to work, then I'm out. I think it's speaking to, and we're starting to have terms like mass exodus. So what's taking place, at least in North America, is a mass exodus from the workforce. People just saying, nope, I've had enough. Not me anymore.
Some places in Europe, France did it, and now Portugal has just done it, is that they're making it illegal for offices to contact workers after hours, and workers are not required to work after their shifts, like after their set time, and employers can't interact with them after on, even on, in France, I think they have something that blocks it, that they actually can't receive the emails after a certain amount of time and that kind of thing. They're making sure they can only work a certain amount of hours per day, and in between their shifts, they can't be contacted.
Honestly, if you need somebody to cover that time, just hire someone, right?
Yeah.
Just be like,
Mhm.
now you are our
The
on-call
after hours
person.
person or
Totally.
The government's had it
Yeah.
instilled it because the companies just don't. I mean, some of the companies I worked for would talk about work-life balance and say they want their employees to have work-life balance, but it still didn't translate. Like, how am I going to get all this work done
But not if there's a deadline.
and have my work-life? Like,
Yeah.
I want to have work-life balance. You're telling me to have work-life balance, but I still have this giant project to do that I could never do within my regular work hours. So how am I supposed to do that? Yeah.
You think
So
part of it too is that, like, in this day and age, we can see all these possibilities of things that we could do. Like, we see other people doing stuff, and maybe they're doing their 4%, and so it looks like they're doing a lot, because we're, any individual who's really busy might not do anything for themselves. Especially like social media, you see people put things up there, the things that they're doing, not the things that they're missing out on. Does that make sense?
that's
And so
true.
you have this like feeling like, am I the only one who's missing out? And then you also can see all the possibilities of things you could do. You could become a mermaid or whatever, or all the places you could travel, or all the things you can learn, or whatever. Like, does that, I mean, maybe that contributes a little bit, where we're kind of like, is just being here and getting up and doing whatever, cleaning the house every day, is that enough? Or was it enough before? I don't know. Like, maybe that contributes a little bit.
Well, and I think
knowing
it's
what
the
you're
social
missing out.
pressure too of social media. Like, you
Yeah.
see so much. You used to be able to see what was happening on your own street, or what other moms were doing at the school, or whatever, or what people were doing through your job, but you wouldn't see everyone around the world and what they're doing and what they're posting or doing for fun or whatever. And half those posts are probably fake anyway, or made up to seem better than they are and rosier than they are. And now we see it, so we feel that pressure to do it as well.
Hmm.
The other thing
Yeah.
that I think about when you say that the government is like making it so that people can't work extra, I wonder if there's any hidden backlash for people who are working extra because of their relationship to the poverty line. You know, they have to work
true.
this many hours a day because that's how they make ends meet. And I wonder if, while it sounds like a really great idea, that they're making it so that this can't happen anymore, if those people will be like negatively affected because that's how they were making it work for them.
I mean, I think the intention is that not getting people to work and not paying them as well. Because you might get a call and it's not, you don't bill it or whatever, expected to call. But like, I mean, maybe if those people who need to work more just agree that I'm going to work longer hours and that's my thing. But sometimes what happens, even with people who, I think it's so people don't get taken advantage of. Because even if you're living close to the poverty line and you don't want to work extra, but you're worried about losing your job, maybe that's an opportunity for employers to take advantage of you, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I
don't
think
know.
that the intention is
like,
and
I mean, there might always be somebody who doesn't benefit from policy changes, of course, right?
and it's usually the underrepresented, right? Or whatever. Like that's probably not a word. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think you just added an extra ed.
Yeah.
Like you underrepresented.
The other thing that made me think this might be slightly controversial, because I think it's got a whiff of victim blaming, but because like what you just pointed out, Mary, for fear of losing your job, you don't want to say no. But I think there's an opportunity for individuals to exercise boundaries. So I wonder if COVID is, you know, how there's a mass exodus or whatever. I wonder if that is now swinging the pendulum the other way, because it's responsibility of both parties involved. Like the person who works extra and doesn't ever say no has some responsibility. I think they may be motivated by the fact that they don't feel like they can say no, or the power differential. But I mean, I can only speak for me, right? So depending on your circumstances, you may or may not have the luxury of setting boundaries.
I mean, that's why unions exist, right? Is because, and that's why, you know, a lot of corporations don't like unions, because you can get a whole bunch of people together to put that pressure. And then the people who don't have unions, one person might say, like, I can't, I'm going to go home when I go home, and I'm going to come in when I come in. I'm not going to answer my phone. But then for every person that says that, there's going to be another person who will be like, I'll do anything you want as long as you promote me and keep me and whatever. So when it comes to cuts, and they say, who do we cut? Well, let's not cut the person who works an extra 2 hours every day, because we're getting an extra portion of a person out of them. So, well, it's true, right? You're like, well, if we have to get rid of one person, why don't we keep the person that's, you know, 125% of a job and doing that extra 25 for free or whatever. I don't know.
Well, and that's what in those, like in corporate worlds and stuff, like the more that you do, the more that people, like, you know, my friend was working in a corporate job, and, you know, it's like, you have to stay later, and you have to stay later, the next person, then the next person, the next person, because if you're not the person that stays the latest, you're not doing your job properly, and you get talked to your boss and all of those things. So
or you're not as committed.
Yeah, exactly.
Team player, be a team player.
Yeah, but then it's
also
like,
we've just glamorized what it means to be an overworker, like especially if you're on salary. I see your point, Kim, with privilege. I think some of it could be the difference between salary and hourly wage, that if you're on salary, you're locked in, and there's this, sometimes even this contractual expectation that you'd only be 37.5 or 40 hours a week, and you're going to get this set paid amount. And then you find yourself working like 60 hours a week consistently, and 65 hours. And heaven forbid, one day you only do 48 hours that week. You look like you're less than. And that cycle only works if we glamorize what it means to be a great worker. It's that person who runs on no sleep, who doesn't take washroom breaks, who eats at their desk. Like, if we
First
just
at the
make that
office,
so
last to leave.
alluring, then we wouldn't necessarily buy
adult
or
diapers.
feel like we have to. Yeah. Adult diapers for everyone.
I was gonna say, isn't that what recently happened to you, Mayor? Or is that private? Kind of. Like they said, oh, it'll be 1 day a week, and it was like
Oh,
a
yeah.
5 days worth of work in 1 day.
Well, it wasn't that much, but it was. I was like, oh, I can do one, and then it was more than one, and I was like, why did I do this? I have a tendency. I'd like to work, but because I'm home with the kids, I forget that when you work and you want to be home with the kids, it's hard to do both. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh no, I don't have any time. So I'm not working now, which is nice, but who knows?
Good.
I might. Every once in a while, somebody asks me, would you be interested in maybe working? Like, and I'm always like, maybe. Like, I forget every time.
I think it's funny too, like a reflection of the broken system. Do you remember when Google first, like it became public knowledge that Google had like a daycare on site and a gym on site? It was, I can remember not the uproar, but like the uproar of gratitude, or like, wow, it must be the best to work at Google, because they gave their employees like these simple things that made it a nicer place. Like I remember it being like, oh, that's the ideal place to work. And I just think when in this conversation, that being the outlier is interesting, because it's just a reflection of how glorified it is to be overworked and not go to the bathroom or whatever, right?
Yeah, but then all those things are just, then you're still at work. Like,
I should
Yeah, they do it
like-
because they don't want you to leave.
yeah.
The one company that I work for, we used to rent space where the Google office is, and it's like, oh. So yeah, professional chefs for all your meals, showers, so you can have like a full private changing area. And then it started to occur to me, indoor rock climbing walls, unlimited supply of yoga classes. And then it occurred to me, I was like, they just made it so that you don't want to leave.
Yeah.
To build your life and start to grow roots in a freaking office building.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I've worked for really good companies that had amazing things that they offered that other companies didn't do, right? But they still have these really big expectations for growth, bigger than regular companies might, and have this hurrah, hurrah, we're so great. Like, I work for, like, it would be like Google. I work for Google. It's amazing. Like, everyone's so pumped to work there.
Ugh.
But you end up, because they have all these amazing things, like Kara said, then, and Lindsay said, then you never leave work. And then work is your life. Like, your life revolves around work. And then you don't have anything outside of work. Everything is compounded into it. And so it's not necessarily the answer either, because giving people time after work where they can't work, someone at Google might do a yoga class and go back and do some more work. And they might eat dinner there and go back and do some more work. And
That's
have
totally what
breakfast
I would
there
do.
and work.
If
Yeah,
I worked
I would
there,
too.
I would just be like,
It's good that they do those things for their employees, but it's not necessarily just one-sided.
Well, I think that that's one of those instances of like that. I mean, that's what I was asking. Do you think that they did it on purpose? Because I was under the impression that it was, and I mean, maybe they had the foresight to see this, but I know that employees who feel like they are appreciated are the ones that work harder, better, smart, like the production, whatever you're trying to produce from an employee who feels appreciated is significantly higher quality and just higher yield than obviously employees who feel taken for granted or overworked or whatever. So I thought that that was kind of the model they based it on. And then now they probably were like, oh, look at this bonus side effect. Everybody lives here. Like our productivity is through the roof.
I don't know if that they're doing it under evil or corporate greed or whatever, but it is proven that productivity goes up, and that's really the whole point of a corporation.
Right.
How do they make their employees more
Happy though, supposedly.
yeah.
Right?
And,
So
and like if
productive.
you're problem solving, like it's good to be able to go off and play ping pong or do rock climbing, because then you can like solve those problems without, because if you focus too much on something, sometimes you can't really get that breakthrough, right? You need,
I want to work for Google now, guys.
I know,
I have
right?
a friend that did.
I don't know.
I want some
know
yoga.
I was trying to say it's not probably healthy, but I was like, I kind of want to be fully immersed.
it's healthier,
Even have
right?
like
Yeah.
music
Healthier,
recordings.
right?
So
You like being at
amazing.
work. I was like, and then if you started there when you don't have, maybe when you were young and single, then you just meet someone at work, you'd make babies at work, you just all be at work. I'm like going full the other way. I was like, full matrix. I'm going full matrix on this. I want to be dialed in, but my work perspectives, probably, maybe, I don't know.
I just want to be able to nap at work. Like if I'm feeling like
Yeah,
really, really
I wanna
tired,
nap
like
at work. I do nap
I've
at
worked
work,
at places
so-
that had like a nap room, and like I just want to be able to do like a 10-minute power nap. Like if I can get 11 minutes, I like am so much better in the afternoon. Most places I've worked, they don't look nicely over at napping, even though it's good for productivity.
They should.
Right? If you could
I-
just have like a
it
10-minute nap in the afternoon.
I'd love to do that right in the middle of the rush at the restaurant. Like, sorry guys, I need to go for my 10-minute nap.
Nap time.
This is too much. I'm very sleepy.
That'd be great. But you would do so much better, right?
I would.
It would help.
You like master the art of being able to do it anywhere, Lindsay. You just literally stand there and you just shut down.
Against the wall.
Like, I'm just sleeping. Hold on.
Yeah, you're just like, you know,
It's like you're a
then
robot.
your alarm goes off after 13 minutes and you're like,
Yeah.
You crawl into a booth. You crawl into a booth. No, but this is a sleep.
This is the sleeping booth.
You get a thing that like props up a book or something, so it looks like you're busy doing something, and you just sleep in front of
I
it.
could use that.
you're trying to like normalize like napping. You're trying to bring it back.
Yeah. Sorry your food is taking so long.
Yeah, every restaurant should have a booth called the sleeping booth.
True,
and it's
though.
for people who work there. Oh no, that table is not available. That's the sleeping booth.
But in the restaurant industry, we just turned into the fucky room for sure. You can't mix alcohol with nap room.
Good point.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
That's what the fridge is for.
That's what we
That's what the walk-in's for.
Kim, could you tell us something about yourself that happened? Is that
I never
some
did it. I never
personal?
did it in the walk-in.
All right.
In the
She
walk-in.
was very specifically never in the walk-in.
Kind of cold
like
in
it.
there. I don't know.
That's exactly.
Too many people.
Not when I'm in there.
This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members in Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book interrupted.
This audio interruption is brought to you by silence. You hear that? Nothing. Just me. Wrecking your silence. Don't you just love silence? I fucking love it. Excuse my language. I am just alone. I'm in my new shop space. I'm recording today for the season 2 book cycle, and I get to do it alone, not in my home where I have space to think and be alone and away from my family. I love them, but F off. So that's my interruption for today. This is the best. Alone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Book interrupted.
All right, should we move on to another question?
Yes.
Another comment?
Yes.
Maybe. Lindsay, not fan Lindsay, other Lindsay, posted when librarians have a great sense of humor.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Did you see that? It was in the Facebook, like our book club on Facebook, our group. Someone commented that it was his great laugh for the day. And Lindsay, you end up coming back to that person saying my favorite was the na Batman.
So it was like a bunch of the librarian doing a bunch of things that were funny, like setups in the library, or they were bookstores. But my favorite was they had put a book that was, I think it was called Nana. And so then each of the books on the like long side would say Nana, and then they do 4 nanas, and then one book that was called Batman. So it said Nana, 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 Batman.
My favorite was,
I like that.
One favorite was there was a display that had all these like places for books to go, but there was no books. And it said, please be patient. Our display on procrastination will be up soon. I was like, I love it so much. Just because we talked about like procrastinating and stuff. That's good. That's brilliant.
It was such a funny post.
Yeah,
I feel like that post really like captures the magic of librarians. Like if you could stereotype the type of person, all of those jokes really speak to like the quiet little witty men and women who are librarians. That's how I think about the videos. When I see all those jokes, I'm like, oh, librarians. Like, I love them.
Librarians. They love books and words and wordplay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wordplay. That's what it is, actually.
Right?
That's exactly what
Yeah.
most of those were.
I
Yeah.
guess
If you're
so, yeah.
immersed in books, that's kind of probably what you like. I like it.
You probably like your job, I'm imagining, to have that
I think so.
creativity to be able to, do that. So
That
I don't
sounds
know.
like a good job.
Yeah.
I know, I think
You
that too. Like, I have a
university
fantasy
degree, I
about
think.
that. Yeah.
You need
a
a
librarian.
special degree to be a librarian, right?
You do. My mom's best
Yeah.
friend's a librarian.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like a cool job.
I always think of like people are just
Sure.
reading all the time and talking
Yeah.
about books, but she ends up doing tons of research on stuff for people.
Do you guys remember in school how I loved that, how at the back of the books they had the little card envelope thing and you'd stamp
love
it and
that.
you'd see you had it before? I don't think they have that anymore because it's all probably digital, but I love that. You'd be like, oh my God, so and so had this book before me.
Yeah. Or you'd
It's
see
so
some people would
cute.
take it out like 3 times in a row.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I like that.
It had a
old
certain,
school.
and the cards had a smell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
like
just
that
me.
manila color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool.
Libraries.
Libraries, cool.
Libraries. Oh, we had our YouTube video or episode, White Fragility, episode 3, The Good Bad Binary, Anti-Racist Gateway book and being offensive, that episode. And we had like a picture of like coddling white people. Remember, because Leah's like, "Oh, goodbye, white people." Like how she like,
But okay.
how her voice is like coddling when you listen to the audiobook of, Anyway, so that episode has had a ton of views recently on YouTube, more than our other videos. Someone commented though, they just said, what? They probably haven't read the book and haven't listened to the audiobook, which is good too, because that book cycle wasn't initially, didn't have that many listens or likes, but now it's starting to get traction. So that's pretty good. And we just launched a blog post with our store, the Squiggy Stumble Forward. So if people want to,
I really like that design, Leah.
yes.
Like,
Oh,
it's-
good.
It's a
Well,
cool
I think
shirt.
it was
love the
kind of
squiggy, yeah.
Kara's. I actually don't know if I came up with the idea. Maybe Kara did.
I think
Maybe
we just
Sarah
talked
did.
it out. I think you had
Sarah, was it you?
ideas.
I don't think it
Well,
was my idea.
I came up with the like saying
Yeah,
the
you came up with that
writing.
part, and Kara came up with the skin tones.
Yeah, and I didn't.
So I didn't really do anything. I
stop.
typed. I went beep bop boop.
Yeah.
I wrote squiggy. Actually, getting good color, skin tone color reference was harder. The nuance and like different monitors read it differently. And then involving Squiggy and his feedback was really interesting on like some of the like middle colors. And like, I just thought it was like the extremes were easy, but the middles, well, I love looking at color. So like, to me, it was a real fascinating process.
So tell us about it. What does it look like for the listeners?
Yeah, so it's a white t-shirt or many things. It could be a mug. It is also available in sweatshirt, long sleeve, etc. Tank top. And it is our dear friend Squiggy's quote, "Stumble forward," from when we talked about his like kind of ethos about moving forward in anti-racism work. And we just repeated the word stumble, 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 stumble in many different flesh tones. And then forward at the bottom. The Squiggy commemorates Book Interrupted's podcast conversation with our guest host, Squiggy, while talking about the book White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. $2 from every sale of this collection will go to All Welcome Here Rural, BIPOC Association. Find out more at www.allwelcomehere.ca. How's that for you?
Awesome.
And you can check it out at www.bookinterrupted.com under shop, and it'll take you through our swag and our Teespring store.
Yeah, and Squiggy suggested that charity. That's a charity.
Yeah, that charity. And Lindsay, I'll be coming to you next for some of your ideas, but we'll talk privately.
All right.
Do you know what I'm thinking of in the back of my mind is, well, first of all, like, I'm so excited about the swag shop. but just Leah's creative process for it, and just some of the ideas that come out before it gets to the final version, and just our discussion that we had about seeing red.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
we
shirt's
toyed
like
around with some
impossible.
interesting. Yeah,
It's gonna be a
Sorry.
hard shirt.
it's gonna be so hard. So sorry. I just wanted to explain why I was
Yeah.
kind of like giggling
Yeah.
sometimes, and it wasn't at what we were talking about. It was I was having a whole other thing going on in the back of
Yeah.
my mind.
I
Yeah.
think,
So we're doing common but not normal, but some of the ideas is
Some of the ideas are just wrong.
I just only want a shirt
Who's
with
gonna wear
Lindsay's face on it as a tampon. So like, can we just make the shirt and call it a day, Lindsay?
No, we are
Okay.
not. I do not want my tampon face on.
What if we were all
Sure.
tampons? Would that make it better?
What if we're all tampons?
Yes.
We could be a box of tampons.
Box of
Oh
tampons.
my god, that's funny.
we could
I
do box of
like that.
tampons and say common but not normal.
Right, and that's true too of all of us
That's
being a
true.
tampon.
Not normal.
I like
And
that
we could do
better.
common, not normal in like the Tampax branding, but it could say common instead of Tampax.
my
and
Tampax?
You guys
Yes.
are
Done.
just nuggets today.
Done and done. Yeah,
Okay.
because we had got into points where we're like blood stains, and then I was like, "Will anyone
I
buy
was really
this shirt?"
excited about doing like a limited edition red and white tie dye. Like I would hand
I think that's
tie-dye.
great.
But it's
I know,
so
but it would be
impossible.
The dye
to
would
do.
be
impossible.
blood.
I would have to hand tie dye everything.
Oh my God.
To get, yeah.
We'd have to filter it through. It would be like a nightmare. We talked
would.
about it. I was like, logistically though, what if it became popular? Like,
I know,
That would
but I
be
just want to own it. Whatever shirt we make, I'm making us some limited edition tie dye.
okay.
Nice.
Okay.
I would also wear a shirt that was a pair of legs only.
Oh my god!
Puddle of blood.
No,
Yeah.
please.
I would wear it if
Or
it
just put
said
a
You know
string
you
there.
would.
Just put a string.
yes.
Oh yeah, that's
A
where I
pair
thought
of
you were
legs with a
going.
string. Yes.
See, I feel like you're one of us because of that horrible comment that went clearly past the line.
It's not past
Love
like, but
that.
that's the thing about periods, right? Like they've been like villainized, like don't talk about them, don't whatever. Like there's nothing wrong with what she just said. Like that, I would wear that shirt because of the shock value of it.
I might have
We
to do
could
some
make it-
breathing exercises beforehand to let
I agree with what you're saying, Kim, but I probably wouldn't wear it.
That's
I would.
okay. That it's not a mandatory uniform by any
Yeah,
means.
it's a uniform.
You must
It's a
wear it every
uniform.
day.
You have to wear it when you have your
have to wear it on
period.
your period.
Yeah.
Your period.
So it's only like a week out of the month, Sarah. You can do it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
fine.
Yeah. You can do this.
Imagine?
No problem.
Oh no.
You
Can
just have to
I-
like keep one in your bag if you like have your regular period, so you're ready to go. It comes surprises you.
You
Go
go
time.
into panic
You know,
mode.
like your emergency
Shirt
period bag is like your shirt. That's a good
You have it
skit.
underneath all
That's a
your
really
shirt,
good skit.
all of your clothes. You have to take it off like Superman.
Yeah.
Time.
I like that.
It's time. It's time. That would be a great
Oh
skit.
my god, I
Goodness.
love this so much.
Lindsay, you were saying?
No, I just wanted, this is changing the topic, but I'd like to ask fan Lindsay if she had any fan response from her blog, Home Under Clutter, about the podcast and her experience here.
I did not really have any responses. My blog is very small right now, so I only have like 30 followers or something like that. It's just sort of something I'm just working for in the background, not something I'm really trying to build up yet.
For sure.
Well, now you have 6. How many are we?
Some-
36
Yeah, something
followers.
like that. Yeah.
I'm following. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
and,
not actually following. I should probably actually follow. I was reading it.
I feel like I
read
read it. But
Yeah.
yeah, actually got to click the button or whatever.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I reposted your post from yesterday because you mentioned Book Interrupted and all the 4% Fix episodes that are on.
Yeah, I've been trying to link them all into the blog
Mhm.
so that everybody can see it.
Well, you'll just become so famous like us.
Yeah.
That's a joke, listeners.
Yeah.
That is a joke. Yes.
I can't think of anything worse than like, I mean, I know I'm on a podcast and putting myself out there every week, but like just the thought of actually becoming famous, I find terrifying. It's like, I don't actually want to be famous.
Yeah, it's hard. Like at my restaurant, famous people come in and they have to call ahead and that we need to find the room with the door and they have to be in the back corner. And it's like, yeah, that's just no fun. Like you got to come into a restaurant and not be around people and be in this secret place and only have your entourage around you. Kind of sucks for them, I would think. Maybe not. Maybe they like the being away from people, but
Yeah, like I'm like, tell me more. I want that so bad.
Actually, Kim
Oh,
was I
no.
think the
Private
only
room,
one in one of the blog
entourage.
questions that was like, would you rather be a monk or be followed around by the paparazzi? And I must have reread Kim's answer like 3 times. I was like, she would want the paparazzi.
But you did say this might be another situation where I will regret. Like if
My
I ever
decision.
became famous, yeah, right. Like if I ever became famous, I might regret writing this.
I
'Cause
just
maybe I
thought the
won't
same
like
thing
it.
when I just said this right now too. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, fast forward, fingers crossed, to when we when we can't go to restaurants anymore. And I say like, oh, I hate it.
Yeah, and then it's brought back up.
Yeah.
Oh, do you hate it? Remember when you said this?
Remember when you said you wanted it? Now you
Now
have
we're,
it. Love it.
now we're in this closed room at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think Canadian celebrities get as famous as American. Maybe, but I guess there's a few. Even Canadians, like we've had famous people sit at booths that are open and people don't really bug them that much in Toronto anyways. They're like, oh yeah, that's someone famous. Like a really famous hockey guy came in and he sat right in the middle of the bar when it was super busy. Like one of the most famous, I'm not going to say who it is, but one of the most famous Canadian, and nobody talked to him. Maybe 2 people went up and were like, hey dude, how's it going? And that was it. And I was like, oh, that's good. I feel like Canadians are overly politeness. Maybe that's not everywhere, but definitely in downtown Toronto.
I like
Whole
that.
Foods, we used to have famous people come in all the time, and people just ignored them, right? They just do their shopping wherever. But one time, I didn't go up to this person or anything, but do you remember, Kim? I sent you a text that said, I'm in line at the Whole Foods with the Magic Man. And you're like, who's the Magic Man? Because it was,
The Magic Man.
remember? Because I couldn't remember what
Will Arnett?
Yeah, that's true.
Was it
Oh,
Will Arnett?
it was. Will
Oh
Arnett.
my God.
Arrested Development.
There, that was the best game of Sister Detective I've ever seen.
I want to play Sister Detective more. Give us another
Oh
one.
my God, that was
And I'm so
good.
bad with
You
names. Like
texted
I know
the
no
Magic
names,
Man?
but the Magic Man. I was
How
like,
did
I
you
know what
get
you're
that
talking
from that?
I know.
I don't
Because they're
joke.
related. It's some
I
weird
don't watch.
show thing.
And I don't watch a lot of TV, and she doesn't either. So I'm sure she's like Magic Man,
Da-da-da-da.
Arrested Development. Yeah.
about. There's only a handful of shows
Job.
that I can
Is
think
that his
of.
name Gob or Gob or
Job.
something?
Job. Gob.
And everyone calls him Gob. Totally.
Yeah, that's in an episode for sure. It is.
Totally.
But I remember you texting back, I don't know what you're talking about.
The
I'm like, oh my
Magic
God, I'm in
Man.
line with the Magic Man. You're like, where are you? I don't know what you're talking about. What Magic Man?
Because the first thing I think of is the Heart song, Magic Man. So I'm like, who was that song about?
You're like going a different detective route. You're like, well, now I'm gonna learn everything I can about Heart.
My trail went cold fast.
Oh, so funny. And it took me a while because I think I had to phone you. And I'm like, Arrested Development, the show I really like, that guy that plays. And you're like, okay, no, I didn't get that from your text.
By then, the excitement has like been diminished because
Totally.
you're having to explain, and he's
Yeah.
gone.
I'm in line with the Magic Man.
This
She was
person.
like, what is this? Where are you?
It would be great if the only thing you used to describe the Magic Man was you went like, like da 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 da, and then she was like, "Oh, Will Arnett."
It'd be best if she didn't know, and she's just singing
I
in
still wouldn't
line
know.
at the grocery store.
I'd be like, the final countdown? It
And
would
then
be the
you'd
best
hear
if
her.
she was doing that on the phone and he was in line in front and he like
front.
jumped into character and did whatever he did when that music was playing. That would be the best.
But yeah, I didn't take a picture or nothing. All I did was like send a quick text, and I didn't want him to notice. That's why it was so quick. I'm in line with the Magic Man. But maybe that's
Don't interrupt
maybe-
his day. It's rude.
Right, I didn't want to interrupt his day. I didn't want to be rude. He's buying his groceries, so yeah.
And buy vegetables.
I wonder what kind of vegetables he bought.
You can tell us, Sarah.
No, I don't know. I don't even remember. I was too excited that I was in line with the Magic
blacked
Man.
out.
And then afterwards, it was all like text back and forth with Kim being like, what's going on? I don't know where you are. Like,
You've
Like it
been
was maybe
drinking.
like,
Is this
"Where
code? Are you
I'm at
safe?
work."
Yeah, are you safe?
So funny. That reminds me of me and Carol when we were younger. I'd make her like tell me like, if you call me and say this line, then I know you're in danger, and I will come get you. And she's like, okay, we like plan it.
And then I'd be like, what was the line again?
I'm in line with the magic man.
They put together like the legend of all the things. If it's this, then this. If it's this, this. I'd be like, and then I'd be typical Kara. So what am I supposed to do again? And you just be like, gosh darn it!
Time to protect you.
Also, if you're in trouble, just
ruining
call
it.
911.
Yeah, like
You're
why
actually
would
in
you
trouble.
just call nine-
Don't do
like,
the code.
yeah.
Just call 911.
No, that's not the way we roll, lady.
That was
I'm
not.
sorry.
Because I'm the one that's going
A
to
sort of
rescue her from a dangerous date.
straightforwardness. Yeah.
I'm the one. I'm by myself, picking her up. I know. What were we thinking? Clearly, you should dial 911.
I know.
We loved codes though. We always made codes for everything. We used to make up like ciphers and then lose them and not be able to translate the notes.
Yeah, we don't. You remember, Kim? We had a whole language, the Billabong language. Do you remember it? Meet Spazia.
Billabong.
We had an entire dictionary. You don't remember.
I remember happy birthday in a
And what is happy birthday
Do you remember what it is?
in your
Translated.
language?
I don't remember that one.
like maybe Borgely Gorsting.
Yes.
Borgely
Borgely Boinding, Ding Shanghai, Fa La Di Tu Di, Rani 99. That was my part.
Oh, that's not happy birthday though, but I remember that
that's just-
song.
that's
I
just
do
the
remember that
song.
song.
What was happy birthday again?
I don't remember because maybe it's Borshi Ladoy. Like that's the song I'm thinking of is the one that Sarah just sang.
What's happening?
I can prove that I know that. I could sing that exactly the same thing that she just said.
Yeah. No, you sang it all the time. And we would write
I
down.
don't know you guys
Meat
anymore.
Spazia meant pass. Meat Spazia, believe it or not, meant pass the meat when you're at the table.
Because that was a big part of your day.
It's not a big stretch.
It was just ways that we invented to drive her parents insane.
Oh my gosh.
We'd write it down. We'd like, okay, here's a new word. What's it going to mean? And stuff. And we'd go, Meat Spazia. Like, pass it over back and forth. Totally. I don't know, but like, yeah, there's a lot of. I don't remember all of that. I wish we could find the dictionary we tried to make. We had a.
I can't believe
I feel like it was in. I feel like actually the thing that I'm thinking of was in a birthday card, and I don't think we wrote it, but it was just this perfect birthday card because it was happy birthday. Maybe aliens were singing it or something, and it was just a totally different language.
I don't feel like we even know you guys.
We ran on a real tangent. I can't believe I sang that song on our podcast.
Because you know how that song went? Listen, we were playing a game, and I believe that Meredith started it. So we each had to say our own part. So Meredith went Orshki Laboing Ding, and then I went Rashka Ding Shanghai, and then someone else.
Rudy.
Yeah,
and then it was Sarah's
went
turn.
Right. She was the least creative, as you could see.
And we laughed and laughed and laughed, like till our sides hurt.
I'd get too nervous about performing, and then I'd be like, Ronnie 99, and they're like, what?
We had this like clock radio with a tape, like a cassette tape in it, and we'd put it on record and pause it. And then we would like go around and unpause it and make funny noises in a circle. And then we would play it back like all together and we'd be
And
like,
laugh it.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like we loved it. And so we were doing stuff like that. We were like making the song and like doing the pausing and stuff like that. And do you remember Kim goes, between me and Kim, one of us goes woof, and the other one goes meow, and Sarah goes,
What's the Sarah doing? No.
I couldn't remember.
She was trying to oink like a pig, but she panicked.
I couldn't remember how to oink like a pig, and I panicked and did like this for like the longest time.
Because she's like wants to finish the sound. She's trying for a long time. And Kim and I are speechless, like, is she okay? And we're staring at her like, what? Stop. Clear that she's okay. Into the next like 10 minutes. It's just us laughing.
Because you guys said, what were you trying to do? And I was like, I tried to oink like a pig, but I forgot how.
Funny.
I was very shy and you guys were not. That's what happened there.
Dude really forced creativity on her.
I like
You make up words right now.
face is what gets me.
They would force me
Literally
into
did
all
the
their
opposite
things.
of oinking. You just
It was.
like I don't even know.
It was like some sort of like primal like call. It just went like horribly
That
wrong.
poor pig. That's
Oh
called
my
a
goodness.
pig's death call.
So the 4% fix.
All right. Well, that's actually the last comment. Like
This
there was just,
podcast
like-
can be just like that tape. Like the last 20 minutes could just be us laughing our asses off.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Well, there we go. That's the fan episode for the 4% fix. Lindsay, left hand Lindsay, do you have any last minute comments?
I don't
Or
think
any words
so.
you'd like to make up?
Any words? Any farm animal noises?
Barely anything is on the table at this point.
No, I
for
think I have
coming
nothing
on.
that can top that.
Well,
It was
thank
nice
you
having
so
you.
much.
We
Yes,
appreciate
so
you.
nice.
Well,
So
thank
Thank
nice
you for
to have
letting me
you.
into your bubble.
Oh,
You are now
You're
permanently
welcome.
part of our bubble. So, you
Yeah.
know, Squiggy's here and now you're here. We're just growing our bubble. So you're always welcome at any time. So thank you for coming on our
yeah. Thank you.
little podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I had a lot of fun.
Thanks. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted. You can also find our videos on www.bookinterrupted.com. Moments you can look forward to on next week's Book Interrupted.
Here we go. Hello and welcome everyone to the Enneagram Quiz Show.
And you know what, Nat? Let's share with them some famous number 7s, shall we?
Now you're grounded. You can't go to that party, and my FOMO would really flare up.
I love
We're
it because
laughing at you.
Sarah doesn't think she's emotionally stable, but she is. She just, likes to feel her emotions.
Elders here tell young girls to take it once they get their period, like to take it regularly.
I have my period again every single time. I don't know.
I love
how
that you
this
coordinate your
works.
period with our
I know.
filming.
Book interrupted.
Never forget, every child matters.